Hey guys, it's Alina here, and I've got another first impressions for you. Today's video is on the new Tarte Energy Noir clay palette. So before I get started, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you love first impressions videos and you want me to do more of them, because I'd be happy to do that. And feel free to leave a comment below if there's an item that you want me to do a first impressions on. So let's go ahead and get started. So the Tarte Energy Noir clay palette is an eye and cheek palette that was released recently, and it's a part of their fall 2015 collection. So it consists of 8 eyeshadows total, 1 blush and 1 highlighter. This palette is $38 and can be purchased at Ulta and also at Sephora, and I will leave links down below to that. The box looks like this. To be 100% honest, when I opened the Sephora box and I saw this, it was like upside down, and I was like, what did I order? And then when I looked and I saw, I was kind of blah about it, you know? I will leave links down below to where you can purchase it, but just go to the link and see what the pictures look like, because to me, the pictures make it seem like it's gonna be a much bigger palette. I mean, at least bigger than this. So that was a little disappointing. But we're gonna give it a shot anyways to see what it's all about. So the palette looks like this. It is a snap closure, which is super annoying if you just painted your nails. But what Tarte does pretty well for the most part is they love to really utilize that space. So just like the Tartelette palette, you don't have any wasted room. You've got this massive mirror as big as it can be. And then you have the little piece of plastic that has all the names of the eyeshadows and blush, etc. And here are all the colors. You guys know how I feel about this. I hate when they do this because, I mean, I got another one. Don't know who it belongs to. And when I say who, I mean which palette it belongs to. It's just here, hanging out. So that could very easily be any palette that has the names on it. I just don't know why companies are doing this. It drives me crazy. I guess for the average person, it doesn't matter to like know what the names of the eyeshadows are, because you can always Google it if you really want to know, if you want to repurchase it. But for someone like me, like when you do tutorials or you want to list the makeup that you use that day, it's just really annoying. So for these kinds of palettes, I have to make it a point to not lose the stupid little piece of plastic, which, I mean, I do pretty good with, but it's always those ones that you don't want to lose that you end up losing. So the palette contains 6 0.035 ounce Amazonian clay eyeshadows, which are the ones right here. And then it has 2 of the 0.045 ounce Amazonian clay shadows, so 2 larger ones, which are down here. And then it has a blush and a highlight. Just by looking at it, I'm pretty excited. You can tell it's a fall palette because it's got the grays and it's got, you know, kind of darker tones. None of the colors seem very similar, so I think that there's going to be a good variety of looks. I see matte and shimmer shadows here. It looks to me like all of the shadows are matte except for these 2 in the center right here. And of course the highlight color. Because they said this is a full face palette, I wish this highlight shade was a bigger pan, because what highlighting brush, aside from like the inner corner of your eye, are you going to get in that little tiny pan? You know, I wish it was probably the same size as this one so you can actually use it for other parts of your face or whatever. The other thing that kind of irks me is that it's supposed to be a full face palette, but we've got blush and we have highlight. We don't have a contour color or a bronzer or anything like that. I wish that more companies would come out with a full face palette that is actually a full face palette and does have a contour color, a highlight color, and a blush color. It's so rare. I don't understand why it's so rare for people to do that. End of rant. So, I know you guys are just dying to see the colors, so let's get to swatching. Alright, so I am all swatched up, so let me get closer and show you all these colors. So here are all the colors together. These were all swatched without any sort of primer and with one swipe of color. I'm going to start with the eyeshadows first, which are right here. So I went from left to right and top to bottom. So this first color here is a matte beige color called Full Moon. The second color here is a shimmery taupe color called Charged Up. The third color here is a matte dark brown, which is called Dark Drive. The fourth color here is a stone colored, it's called Stone Unturned, and it's a matte shade. The fifth color here is called Up to Slate, and it's a grayish, purplish, very shimmery color. This is definitely my favorite one in the entire palette. It's so stunning. The sixth color here is called Misty Mauve, and it is a kind of like a dusty mauve shade. The seventh color here is called Power Plum, and it's a matte plum shade, so like a deep eggplant. And the last color here is called Lunar Eclipse, and it is a matte black shade. It's not super pigmented, but I feel like it could be buildable. So once again, these are all the eyeshadow shades. Lastly, we have the blush shade, which is called Unearthed. It's this really pretty, like muted corally peach color. So it's very, very natural looking, and there's no shimmer to it. And then you have the highlight, which is called Crystal Spark, and it is kind of a champagne type highlight. It definitely has some gold to it. Actually really, really pretty. I really love these. So my final thoughts on this palette was that I was actually really, really pleased with it. If you've seen my Poppy Picnic review, you know that I returned that palette and I wasn't a fan of it. I thought the colors were really boring. While these aren't really that exciting of colors, I love that they've got some grays, some purples, some blacks, some browns, so you can really play up either of those three and create a different look rather than all browns, which is what the Poppy Picnic offered. I believe it's the same price that Poppy Picnic was, but I do like how they utilized the space of the packaging. There's no wasted space. Poppy Picnic had a lot of wasted space around it, I feel like, by having that circular blush in the middle. So I actually really, really like this palette. The packaging is adorable. It's not as pretty as Poppy Picnic, but it's still pretty stunning. It looks very high-end. I still wish that there was a contour shade in it, but I think it is a nice palette. And if you don't have anything from Tarte and you've been dying to try out a bunch of different products, this is a great way to do it by getting some sort of palette. It is $38, which is a little pricey, but there are other brands that are doing palettes for around the same range that don't include face colors as well. Usually it's just eyeshadow or blushes or whatever. So I'm actually really, really impressed, especially with the pigmentation, because I know with Poppy Picnic, half of the shades you couldn't even see on my skin tone, and every single one of these shades, even the lightest one, you could see. I'm really, really impressed by the shimmer shades, because you guys know how much I love that, the Charged Up and Up to Slate. I do love the Stone Unturned and the Misty Mauve as well. Even though they're matte shades, they're really pretty colors that I could definitely work with. And don't forget the Crystal Spark, which is the highlight shade. You can still use that as eyeshadow. No one's saying you can't. The blush as well, you gotta get creative. So if you were considering it and you were on the fence, I hope that this video was able to kind of help you make a decision. So I wanna know your thoughts if you picked up this palette, if you didn't, if you're planning on it, leave me a comment, I'd love to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this first impressions. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other videos. Hope you guys have a good one. See ya.